They won't teach you this in school, not in business class, not in college, not even in most financial courses. Because the truth about becoming financially successful is not just about what you do, it's about what you stop doing. And this is exactly where most people fail. They chase strategies, they follow trends, they copy the rich, while secretly dragging with them habits that silently destroy every chance they have at building true wealth. Warren Buffett, one of the most disciplined financial minds in history, once said, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." And that's exactly what this video is about. The habits that start small, seemingly harmless, but with time, they become heavy enough to keep you broke, stuck, and lost. If you've ever wondered why you're working harder than ever but not seeing real results, why others seem to rise while you're standing still, then don't look at what you're missing, look at what you're refusing to let go of. The most dangerous habits are not the obvious ones. They're the ones we justify, the ones we defend, the ones we picked up from family, friends, or even our own survival instincts. But today, we're going to bring them to the surface. We're going to expose each one, layer by layer. And as we go deeper, you may feel uncomfortable. That's a good sign, because discomfort is the beginning of transformation. So take a breath, be honest with yourself, and listen carefully, because what you're about to hear could be the one thing standing between you and the financial freedom you've been chasing your entire life. Habit 1. Living beyond your means. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They look at their income, they look at their expenses, and because the math seems to work, just barely, they think they're fine. But living just a little beyond your means is like standing on the edge of a cliff with your toes dangling over. You may not fall today or tomorrow, but one small gust, one unexpected event, and everything collapses. Warren Buffett lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958, not because he can't afford a mansion, but because he understands something most people never do. Your wealth is not what you earn, it's what you keep. The illusion of progress is dangerous. You get a raise, you upgrade your lifestyle, a better car, a bigger apartment, more dinners out. But what feels like improvement is actually a trap. Every time your expenses grow with your income, you erase your future. You rob yourself of options. And worst of all, you normalize a standard of living that is fragile. One job loss, one illness, one divorce away from disaster. And when that disaster comes, as it does for most people eventually, the shame hits harder than the pain. Because you thought you were climbing, you thought you were safe, but you were only floating one paycheck above drowning. People don't talk about the emotional cost of this habit. Quiet anxiety of living on the edge, the pressure to keep appearances, the mental weight of juggling bills and credit cards. It drains your focus. It kills your creativity. It turns every opportunity into a risk and every dream into a debt. And yet, most people can't stop. Why? Because they confuse comfort with freedom. They think a new couch, a luxury bag, or a weekend getaway is the reward. But true freedom isn't found in things. It's found in margin. Margin gives you space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to wait for the right opportunity instead of grabbing the first one that pays. Breaking this habit isn't about deprivation. It's about redefining what success looks like. It's about saying no to the things that impress others so you can say yes to the things that empower you. It's about trading dopamine for discipline, trading validation for vision. It's about understanding that every dollar you spend now is a vote for the life you're building, and every dollar you save is a brick in the foundation of your independence. And yet the world around you is designed to make this habit feel normal. Advertisements scream, "You deserve this." Social media shows curated snapshots of other people's luxury. Credit cards whisper, "Why wait?" But here's the truth. If you need debt to afford it, you can't afford it. If your happiness depends on consuming more, you're not building wealth, you're building a trap. So ask yourself, are you really living within your means? Or have you just become comfortable with the edge? Because sooner or later, every edge becomes a fall. And when it does, no amount of status or stuff will catch you. Habit 2. Seeking quick wins and instant gratification. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that if success doesn't happen fast, it's probably not meant to be. That if the results don't show in days or weeks, we've somehow failed. It's a lie that's quietly destroying millions of lives. And it's one of the most seductive habits that keeps people financially stagnant. The constant pursuit of quick wins. The hunger for instant gratification. It's the voice in your head that says, "Why wait to invest when you can enjoy life now? Why build something over 5 years when someone else claims you can do it in 5 days?" It sounds reasonable, it feels logical, but what it really is financial suicide disguised as ambition. Warren Buffett became one of the richest men alive not because he found a secret shortcut, but because he mastered the long game. He once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." And the same can be said for life. The world doesn't reward urgency, it rewards consistency. But in a culture where everything is fast, fast food, fast internet, fast dopamine, patience feels like punishment. And so we chase speed over substance. We skip the process and crave the payoff. But in doing that, we build nothing real, nothing that lasts, just fleeting highs followed by deeper lows. This habit is especially dangerous because it feels productive. We start side hustles hoping for viral success. We invest in crypto or random trends without understanding them. We take financial advice from influencers who sell dreams, not results. And every time we do it, we reinforce a mindset that says, "Long-term is for suckers. I want it now." But wealth, real, lasting wealth, is boring. It's slow. It's built in silence. And that's why so few achieve it. Because slow doesn't feel satisfying until it's the only thing left standing. Instant gratification is not just a financial problem. It's a mindset virus. It creeps into how you think about work, relationships, health, everything. It teaches you that if something requires time, discipline, and discomfort, it must be wrong. But that's the exact opposite of the truth. The uncomfortable path is almost always the right one. Not because suffering is noble, but because everything valuable is uphill. Everything that lasts requires resistance. And if you avoid resistance, you avoid growth. There's another cost to this habit: regret. The quiet, heavy kind. The kind that wakes you up at night, wondering where all your time went, where your money went, where your potential went. You look back at all the times you could have committed, could have waited, could have planted a seed. But you didn't. You chose speed. You chose easy. And now all that's left is the echo of what could have been. That echo is louder than any failure, because at least failure means you tried. Instant gratification means you never even gave yourself a chance. You don't need to hustle harder. You need to slow down with intention. You need to plant what matters and water it daily, even when no one's watching, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Because that's how wealth works, not in surges, but in seasons, not in explosions, but in quiet, consistent growth. And if you can't delay your reward, you'll never build anything worth being rewarded for. Habit 3. Surrounding yourself with the wrong people. We often think money problems are about numbers, about spending too much, saving too little, or earning below our potential. But one of the most overlooked truths in financial success is this: your environment, the people you surround yourself with, will silently shape your financial destiny. Not just through advice or influence, but through energy, standards, and identity. Warren Buffett once said, "It's better to hang out with people better than you. Pick out associates whose behavior is better than yours, and you'll drift in that direction." But most people don't drift up. They drift sideways, or worse, down. Look closely at the people around you. Do they talk about opportunities or just complain about problems? Do they celebrate discipline or mock it? Do they make you feel like your goals are too ambitious or not ambitious enough? The answers to those questions reveal more about your future than your bank account does. Because whether you realize it or not, you're becoming more like them every day. Slowly, quietly, through shared habits, repeated conversations, unconscious compromise. You start spending like they do, thinking like they do, settling like they do. It's easy to underestimate this. After all, what harm could a friend's cynicism really do, or a partner's spending habits, or a coworker's daily complaints? But over time, these influences wear you down. They soften your edge. They distort your vision. They convince you that what's common is what's right, and that striving for more is selfish, unrealistic, or arrogant. And so you begin to shrink, not because you lack ability, but because you lack alignment. And alignment is everything. You can have the best financial plan in the world, but if the people around you are constantly pulling you in the opposite direction, you'll either abandon your path or exhaust yourself fighting against the current. This doesn't mean cutting people off cold. It doesn't mean arrogance or isolation. It means discernment. It means recognizing who fills your tank and who drains it, who expands your thinking and who reduces it, who inspires action and who enables excuses. Because the most dangerous people are not the ones who openly sabotage you. They're the ones who normalize mediocrity, the ones who quietly lower the bar until you stop reaching for it. And the truth is, we often choose these environments because they're comfortable, because being the most driven person in the room feels good, because challenging yourself is lonely, because raising your standards threatens the dynamics we've built with others. But comfort is not the goal. Growth is. And sometimes growth requires disruption. It requires saying no when it's easier to say yes. It requires seeking out new circles, even when it feels awkward or intimidating. It requires letting go of relationships that once made sense but no longer serve your future. Ask yourself this: if you became exactly like the 5 people you spend the most time with, in mindset, habits, discipline, and ambition, would you be proud of who you're becoming, or would you quietly panic? Because whether you acknowledge it or not, that's already happening. Every conversation is a seed. Every influence is a nudge. And over time, those nudges shape your financial story more than any job, degree, or investment ever could. Habit 4: avoiding responsibility and blaming external factors. There's a quiet comfort in blaming something or someone for where you are in life. The economy, your upbringing, the government, your boss, your ex. The story writes itself, and for a moment, it feels good. Because if it's not your fault, then it's not your problem to fix. But that feeling is a trap. One of the most destructive habits to financial success is the refusal to take full, honest, radical responsibility. And it doesn't always look like blame. Sometimes it looks like subtle deflection, like saying, "It's just bad timing," "I was never taught this," or "the system is unfair." Maybe all of that is true, but the truth won't build your future. Only ownership will. Warren Buffett didn't grow up with wealth. He wasn't born into privilege. He didn't wait for the world to make things fair. He mastered the art of ownership, of choices, of time, of outcomes. And that's the real secret of wealth. Most people don't want to hear. It's not about luck. It's about responsibility. Real, uncomfortable, no excuses responsibility. The kind that says, even if it's not my fault, it's still my job to fix it. That mindset shifts everything. Because the moment you reclaim control, you reclaim power. And power is the foundation of every transformation. Avoiding responsibility feels safe. It protects your ego. It keeps you from facing painful truths. It allows you to stay in motion without progress, to keep busy without ever being accountable. You can work hard, struggle, vent, hustle, and still stay stuck. Because deep down, a part of you is waiting for someone or something else to change. A better economy, a better boss, a lucky break. But nothing changes until you do. And the longer you wait, the deeper the habit roots itself into your identity. And this habit doesn't just damage your finances, it damages your character. It teaches you to negotiate with reality, to explain away failure instead of learning from it, to protect your image instead of your future. And slowly, you become someone who reacts instead of create, someone who observes instead of leads, someone who tells stories instead of building results. And once you step into that identity, it becomes harder and harder to escape, because everything around you begins to reflect it. The people you attract, the opportunities you don't see, the lessons you refuse to learn. Responsibility isn't about blame, it's about ownership. And ownership is painful. It forces you to look in the mirror, to admit that maybe you've wasted time, maybe you've avoided the hard decisions, maybe your habits, not your circumstances, are the real enemy. And that hurts. But it's a good kind of pain, the kind that wakes you up instead of putting you to sleep, the kind that burns away the excuses and makes room for clarity. Every financially successful person, without exception, had a moment where they stopped pointing fingers, where they drew a line in the sand and said, "It ends with me." Not because it was fair, not because they felt ready, but because they were done waiting, done deflecting, done pretending that the world owed them something. And that decision, that single act of taking full responsibility, became the first brick in a life they could finally build with intention. Habit 5, ignoring the power of consistent learning and self-improvement. In a world that moves faster than ever, where information is abundant, yet understanding is scarce, one habit silently separates those who build wealth from those who struggle endlessly: the refusal to embrace lifelong learning. It's not just about reading books or attending seminars. It's about cultivating a mindset that hunger for growth is non-negotiable. Warren Buffett, known as one of the greatest investors, spends about 80% of his day reading and learning. This relentless curiosity isn't a hobby, it's the foundation of his success. Yet most people ignore this truth, convinced that what they already know is enough. This habit of ignoring growth can start subtly. You stop asking questions. You dismiss new ideas as too complicated or not relevant. You avoid feedback, especially when it challenges your beliefs. You get comfortable with what you already know, creating an invisible ceiling above your potential. The danger isn't just in missing out on new information, it's in becoming obsolete. The world doesn't wait for anyone, and what worked yesterday may no longer work tomorrow. But the worst part, this habit breeds complacency. It convinces you that your current skills and mindset are sufficient, even when deep down you know they aren't. Ignoring self-improvement also has an emotional toll. It's like living in a shrinking box where your options become limited and your confidence slowly erodes. Instead of expanding your horizons, you retreat into comfort zones, avoiding challenges that could stretch you. You may even begin to envy others who seem to evolve and succeed while you stay stuck. But envy alone won't help. Only intentional learning will. It requires humility, patience, and resilience to admit you don't have all the answers and to seek growth despite setbacks and failures. This habit also reveals a profound misunderstanding of success. Many believe wealth is a destination, a trophy to be claimed. But it's a journey, a continuous process of becoming better, smarter, wiser, more disciplined. Every dollar earned is often a reflection of what you know, how you think, and the value you bring. Without growth, your value plateaus, your income stagnates, and your dreams slowly fade into the background noise of everyday life. Breaking this habit isn't about forcing yourself into endless study sessions or chasing every trend. It's about creating a relationship with learning, one that fits your life, your pace, and your passions. It means finding mentors, reading selectively, reflecting deeply, and applying what you discover. It means turning curiosity into action. And it means embracing the discomfort of being a beginner over and over again, because that's where transformation lives. Remember, the most successful people aren't those with the fastest start, the biggest breaks, or the loudest networks. They're the ones who never stop learning, no matter how far they go. They understand that knowledge compounds just like money, and that investing in yourself yields the highest returns. So, if you've been ignoring your growth, ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to stay behind while others move forward? How much potential are you willing to leave on the table by refusing to learn? Because in the race for financial success, the biggest advantage isn't in luck or connections. It's in your commitment to becoming better every single day. Habit 6. Neglecting the importance of saving and budgeting. One of the most dangerous financial habits is neglecting the simple yet powerful discipline of saving and budgeting. It sounds almost too basic to mention, but you'd be surprised how many people overlook it. Caught up in chasing bigger paychecks or flashy investments, they forget that true financial security is built on the foundation of control over your money, not just the amount you make. Warren Buffett's frugality is legendary. Despite his immense wealth, he's known for living modestly and carefully managing his expenses. This mindset reflects a truth many ignore. Without saving and budgeting, financial success is a house built on sand. Ignoring this habit means living in constant uncertainty. Without a clear understanding of where your money goes, you become vulnerable to unexpected emergencies, impulsive purchases, and the relentless pressure of living paycheck to paycheck. Budgeting isn't about restricting your freedom. It's about creating freedom. It's about knowing that every dollar has a purpose, and that purpose aligns with your long-term goals. But many resist this discipline because it forces them to face uncomfortable truths. It exposes waste, bad habits, and priorities that don't serve their future. And so, the habit of neglect grows silently. Saving isn't glamorous, and budgeting isn't exciting. They don't offer the rush of a risky investment or the instant gratification of a new purchase. But they are the slow, steady engines behind lasting wealth. Saving creates a buffer, a safety net that protects you from life's uncertainties. Budgeting creates clarity, reducing stress and allowing for intentional decisions rather than reactive ones. Together, they form the armor that guards your financial future. Neglecting saving and budgeting also means missing out on opportunities. Without reserves, you can't seize investment chances, negotiate from a position of strength, or take calculated risks. You become trapped in a cycle of scarcity, always reacting, never proactive. Worse, you build a fragile financial life that can crumble at the slightest shock, from a medical emergency to a job loss. This habit also reveals a mindset problem, the belief that money management is boring or beneath you. It's a subtle form of arrogance that says, "I make enough to not worry about this," or "I'm too busy for that." But true wealth demands respect for money at every level. not just admiration for big numbers in an account. It requires humility to track expenses, discipline to cut unnecessary costs, and patience to let savings grow over time. Breaking this habit starts embracing discipline as a form of self-respect. It means setting clear priorities and saying no to distractions. It means creating systems that make budgeting automatic and saving effortless. And most importantly, it means shifting your view of money from a source of stress to a tool for freedom. Because when you master saving and budgeting, you gain more than control over your finances. You gain control over your life. Habit 7. Failing to set clear financial goals. Without a clear destination, every road feels like a detour. One of the most common but overlooked habits that keep people from true financial success is failing to set clear, actionable goals. Many drift through their financial lives, reacting to events, paying bills, and making purchases without a guiding vision. Warren Buffett's success wasn't accidental. It was driven by clarity and purpose. He knew what he wanted, and every decision was aligned with that vision. Without clear goals, money becomes a series of transactions, not a tool for building the life you desire. Setting vague or unrealistic goals is just as damaging as setting none at all. Saying, "I want to be rich," or "I want financial freedom someday," is too abstract. It lacks the detail, timeline, and measurable milestones that create momentum. Clear goals act like a roadmap, helping you prioritize spending, saving, and investing decisions. They allow you to measure progress, celebrate small wins, and adjust your path when needed. Without them, it's easy to lose focus, get distracted by shiny opportunities, or give up when progress feels slow. The emotional cost of this habit is subtle but powerful. It breeds frustration, uncertainty, and a sense of helplessness. You might work tirelessly but still feel stuck or directionless. You compare yourself to others and wonder why they seem ahead. You waste energy on temporary distractions instead of focused actions. This cycle can erode confidence and motivation, making you vulnerable to impulsive decisions that derail your financial progress. Goal setting also requires vulnerability and honesty. It forces you to confront your true desires and fears. It challenges you to think deeply about what kind of life you want and what sacrifices you're willing to make. Many avoid this because it's uncomfortable. It means facing the possibility of failure, rejection, or change. But clarity in goals creates power. It transforms vague hopes into actionable plans, dreams into achievable steps. Breaking this habit means committing to a disciplined process of reflection, planning, and review. It means writing down specific financial goals with deadlines and breaking them into manageable chunks. It means seeking guidance from mentors, using tools to track progress, and holding yourself accountable. And it means revisiting and adjusting your goals as life changes, because flexibility is part of success. Ultimately, setting clear financial goals is about owning your future instead of letting it happen by accident. It's about turning wishful thinking into intentional living, and it's one of the most powerful habits you can develop to transform your financial story. Habit 8. Ignoring your health and well-being. Financial success isn't just about money. It's about the quality of life that money can enable, and that quality starts with your health and well-being. One of the most common habits that silently erode financial progress is neglecting your physical, mental, and emotional health. Warren Buffett himself credits much of his long, productive career to maintaining balance, resting well, and nurturing his mind. Ignoring health is like trying to build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation. No matter how strong the structure seems, it will eventually collapse. When you sacrifice sleep, neglect exercise, and overlook mental health, you're not just risking illness. You're undermining your capacity to perform, to think clearly, and to make smart decisions. Chronic stress and burnout distort judgment, increase impulsivity, and reduce discipline, the very qualities that wealth building requires. And yet, in the pursuit of money, many fall into the trap of believing that work and hustle must come first, above all else. Ignoring well-being also has hidden costs: increased medical bills, lost time, and reduced energy. These ripple effects quietly drain your resources and limit your ability to capitalize on opportunities. Even more dangerous is the mindset that views health as secondary, a luxury for later. But later might never come, and when health fails, money loses its meaning. The emotional toll is profound. Poor health often brings anxiety, depression, and a diminished sense of control. It creates a vicious cycle where financial worries worsen health and poor health worsens financial worries. Breaking this habit requires recognizing that you are the most important asset you have. Without your well-being, all the financial strategies in the world mean little. Cultivating health and well-being isn't about perfection. It's about respect for yourself and your future. It's about creating habits that sustain energy, focus, and resilience. It's about understanding that rest and recovery are not signs of weakness, but tools for longevity. And it's about making choices that honor your body and mind as the foundation for all your ambitions. Ultimately, financial success without health is an incomplete victory. The richest bank accounts mean nothing if you don't have the vitality to enjoy them. So ask yourself, are you investing enough in your well-being? Or are you trading your health for short-term gains that will cost you dearly down the road? Now that you've seen these 8 habits that quietly sabotage your financial success, it's time to reflect deeply on which ones you might be holding on to without even realizing it. Change is never easy, and the first step is always awareness. But remember, awareness without action is just information, not transformation. Your financial future depends on the choices you make today, choices that demand honesty, discipline, and courage. If this video has challenged you, inspired you, or made you think differently about your financial habits, please give it a like. It helps more people discover these truths. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss insights that can truly change your life. And I want to hear from you. Which habit resonated most? Which one are you ready to break free from? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Your journey to financial freedom starts with the habits you choose to keep and the ones you decide to leave behind. Make those choices count.